Have you ever microwaved last night's dinner thinking it's a safe and healthy choice? What if I told you that reheating certain common foods could silently harm your health, increasing risks of cancer, digestive issues, or even cognitive decline? In this video, we'll explore 5 everyday foods that, when reheated, can become toxic. Backed by scientific studies and medical research, we'll uncover the hidden dangers lurking in your leftovers. Stay tuned to learn how to make safer choices in your kitchen and protect your well-being. Number 1. Spinach. Spinach is celebrated for its rich nutrient profile, packed with vitamins A, C, K, iron, and antioxidants. However, reheating spinach, especially after storage, can pose serious health risks. Spinach contains high levels of nitrates, which in their natural form are beneficial, supporting healthy blood flow and reducing blood pressure. According to studies published in journals like the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, when spinach is cooked, stored, and then reheated, nitrates can convert into nitrites and further into nitrosamines. Nitrosamines have been extensively studied for their carcinogenic properties and have been linked to an increased risk of cancers, particularly those affecting the gastrointestinal tract, such as stomach and colorectal cancer. What makes this even more concerning is that this transformation is completely invisible. The chemical change happens without altering the appearance, taste, or smell of the food. This makes it a silent threat, especially for older adults. As we age, the body's natural detoxification processes slow down, and our ability to repair cellular damage becomes less efficient. Chronic exposure to even low levels of nitrosamines can gradually contribute to inflammation, which is now recognized as a major factor in cognitive decline and the development of neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Scientific research has found a strong connection between dietary nitrosamines and the formation of inflammatory markers in the body, which can cross the blood-brain barrier and damage neurons over time. This process doesn't produce immediate symptoms, but can gradually affect memory, processing speed, and overall cognitive function. Consider how easily this scenario plays out in everyday life. Many people, especially those living alone or cooking for convenience, prepare large batches of spinach-based dishes like soups or casseroles to eat over several days. It's common to reheat portions quickly in the microwave without realizing the potential harm. The cumulative effect of this habit can silently increase health risks over years. Personal insight. I once prepared a large batch of spinach soup, planning to enjoy it over several lunches throughout the week. At the time, reheating it in the microwave seemed like a smart and time-saving choice. I had no idea I could be exposing myself to harmful compounds. When I later came across the science behind nitrate conversion and nitrosamine formation, I completely changed my approach. Now, I either consume spinach dishes fresh or enjoy the leftovers cold, like in a chilled spinach salad or a cold soup. It's a simple shift, but one that gives me peace of mind knowing I'm minimizing long-term risks. By making these adjustments, you can continue to enjoy the many benefits of spinach without unintentionally compromising your health. Awareness and small changes can protect you from invisible dangers that might otherwise accumulate unnoticed over time. Number 2. Potatoes. Potatoes are a staple in many households, celebrated for their comfort, affordability, and versatility. They show up in everything from creamy mashed potatoes to crispy roasted sides. However, while they're often thought to be a safe and hearty food, reheating potatoes under the wrong conditions can quietly put your health at risk. When cooked potatoes are left at room temperature for too long, they can become a breeding ground for Clostridium botulinum, the bacterium responsible for botulism. Botulism is a rare but extremely dangerous illness that can cause muscle paralysis, respiratory failure, and in severe cases, death. The insidious nature of this risk lies in the fact that the bacterial spores can grow in oxygen-poor environments, especially when cooked potatoes are wrapped in aluminum foil and then left to cool slowly. A common mistake people make is thinking that reheating potatoes will destroy all harmful bacteria. Unfortunately, this is not always the case. The bacteria can produce neurotoxins that are highly resistant to heat, and reheating does not guarantee that these toxins will be neutralized. In fact, the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, warns that foods like potatoes, when improperly stored, can become an ideal environment for C. botulinum spores to germinate and release toxins. Even if the reheated potatoes look, smell, and taste perfectly normal, they may still carry these dangerous toxins. This is what makes the situation particularly deceptive. Unlike spoiled foods, which typically show visible signs of decay, botulinum-contaminated foods can appear completely harmless. Older adults need to be especially careful. With age, the immune system naturally weakens, and the body becomes less able to fight off bacterial infections and toxins effectively. A foodborne illness that a younger person might recover from could be far more severe for someone over 60. Additionally, emerging research suggests that chronic exposure to bacterial toxins, even in small amounts, can disrupt the gut-brain axis, potentially contributing to long-term inflammation and cognitive issues. Consider how easy it is to fall into this habit. Imagine baking a tray of potatoes for dinner and, like many people, wrapping the leftovers in foil to store in the fridge. A few days later, you reheat them in the microwave for a quick meal. This simple, everyday action could unknowingly introduce small doses of bacterial toxins into your system, especially if the potatoes were allowed to cool too slowly before refrigeration. Personal insight: I vividly remember a family gathering where we had baked a large batch of potatoes for dinner. After the meal, the leftovers sat out on the counter, wrapped in foil, for most of the evening. The next day, we reheated them in the microwave without thinking twice. Several family members experienced nausea and food poisoning symptoms shortly after. It was a wake-up call. Since then, my family has been far more careful. Now we cool leftover potatoes quickly, store them in airtight containers instead of foil, and reheat them thoroughly and safely. The lesson here is clear. While potatoes are comforting and delicious food, they require proper handling. Always cool cooked potatoes promptly, refrigerate them in breathable containers, and avoid reheating them if they've been sitting out for too long. These small but crucial steps can help protect you from serious health risks that might otherwise go unnoticed. Number 3. Eggs. Eggs are one of the most versatile and nutrient-dense foods in the American diet. They are affordable, easy to prepare, and packed with high-quality protein, essential vitamins, and minerals. For many people, eggs are a daily staple, whether scrambled, boiled, or folded into omelets. However, there's an often overlooked risk when it comes to reheating cooked eggs, particularly at high temperatures. When eggs are first cooked, their proteins denature, a process that makes them easier to digest and safer to consume. This initial cooking step is essential. However, when already cooked eggs are reheated, especially using high-heat methods like microwaving, their chemical structure changes again. This time, the cholesterol present in the yolk can oxidize, forming compounds known as oxysterols. According to research published in the Journal of Lipid Research, oxysterols have been linked to systemic inflammation and a higher risk of developing cardiovascular diseases. Oxidized cholesterol is particularly harmful because it can accelerate the buildup of arterial plaque, increasing the risk of heart attacks and strokes. For older adults, whose bodies already process fats less efficiently and who often struggle with chronic inflammation, this risk becomes even more significant. Beyond cholesterol oxidation, reheating eggs can degrade their naturally occurring sulfur compounds. This not only produces a strong, off-putting sulfur odor and an unpleasant rubbery texture, but also signals that the food's quality and digestibility have been compromised. Eggs that have been reheated improperly can cause digestive discomfort, including bloating, gas, or nausea, especially in those with sensitive digestive systems. It is also important to note that reheated eggs can lose much of their nutritional value. Heat-sensitive vitamins like B-complex and antioxidants are particularly vulnerable to degradation during repeated heating cycles. Consider how common this habit is. Many people batch cook hard-boiled eggs at the beginning of the week for convenience, later microwaving them for a quick breakfast or snack. While this seems like a time-saving solution, the potential long-term health trade-offs make it worth reconsidering. Personal insight: back in my college years, I often boiled a dozen eggs on Sunday, planning to reheat them for breakfast throughout the week. I was completely unaware of the potential risks. Over time, I began noticing digestive discomfort, including bloating and occasional stomach pain, after eating reheated eggs. Once I learned about cholesterol oxidation and the degradation of sulfur compounds, I changed my routine. Now, I enjoy eggs freshly cooked or eat them cold, especially in salads or sandwiches. This small adjustment made a noticeable difference in my digestion and overall comfort. The key takeaway is simple. Eggs are highly nutritious when eaten fresh, but can lose their health benefits and potentially become harmful when repeatedly reheated. Whenever possible, prioritize freshly cooked eggs or consume pre-cooked eggs cold to preserve their nutritional integrity and minimize the risk of introducing harmful compounds into your body. Number 4, chicken. Chicken is widely regarded as one of the healthiest protein options, especially for those looking to maintain a lean diet. It is a staple in meal prep routines and is commonly cooked in bulk to save time. However, many people overlook an important detail. How we reheat chicken can quietly impact our health in unexpected ways. When chicken is initially cooked, the heat denatures its proteins, making them easier for the body to digest. But when cooked chicken is cooled, stored, and later reheated, particularly at high temperatures like those used in microwaves, the proteins undergo a second chemical transformation. This process can lead to the formation of advanced glycation end products, commonly known as AGEs. AGEs are harmful compounds that form when proteins or fats combine with sugars during high-temperature cooking and reheating. According to research published in Diabetes Care and the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, AGEs are strongly associated with chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and the progression of many diseases, including type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disorders, and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. For older adults, who may already struggle with inflammation, high blood pressure, or metabolic concerns, the repeated consumption of reheated chicken can subtly contribute to their health problems over time. The danger is cumulative. Small exposures to AGEs from frequently reheated foods can build up, placing stress on the immune system and exacerbating age-related conditions. Another issue is the change in texture and digestibility. Reheated chicken often becomes tougher and more rubbery, a sign that the proteins have become less bioavailable. This makes it harder for the digestive system to break down the food efficiently, potentially leading to bloating, discomfort, or feelings of heaviness after meals. As we age, our stomach acid production and digestive enzyme levels naturally decline, making these issues even more noticeable. Picture this common scenario. You prepare several grilled chicken breasts on Sunday and plan to reheat them throughout the week. By Thursday, the reheated portions are no longer as juicy or tender, but you eat them anyway because it seems like a practical choice. Unbeknownst to many, this routine could contribute to a gradual buildup of inflammatory compounds that wear down your body's resilience over time. Personal insight: I used to prepare large batches of grilled chicken for the week to save time. I would reheat portions daily in the microwave without giving it a second thought. After learning about AGEs and the long-term impact of reheated proteins, I changed my habits. I now cook smaller batches that I can consume fresh, and if I do have leftovers, I incorporate them into cold dishes like salads or wraps. This approach not only preserves the chicken's flavor and texture, but also reduces the health risks associated with repeated heating. The lesson here is that how we handle and reheat our food matters just as much as the food we choose. Chicken can remain a healthy part of your diet if you are mindful about portioning and reheating practices. Choosing to consume freshly prepared chicken or enjoying cold leftovers can make a meaningful difference in reducing unnecessary dietary stressors, particularly as you age. Small changes like this can lead to significant improvements in long-term health and well-being. Number 5, mushrooms. Mushrooms are highly prized for their unique flavor, satisfying texture, and impressive health benefits. They are rich in antioxidants, fiber, B vitamins, and immune-supporting compounds, making them a wonderful addition to a balanced diet. However, mushrooms are incredibly sensitive to how they are stored and reheated. Many people are unaware that improper handling of cooked mushrooms can quietly introduce health risks. One of the primary concerns is bacterial growth. When cooked mushrooms are left at room temperature for extended periods or stored in plastic containers where moisture builds up, they can quickly become a breeding ground for harmful bacteria. Even though reheating may kill some bacteria, it does not necessarily destroy the toxins that may have already formed. These bacterial toxins can cause digestive discomfort, nausea, or, in rare cases, more serious foodborne illnesses. Reheating mushrooms also alters their protein structure. Mushrooms contain complex proteins and enzymes that, when reheated, especially at high temperatures, break down into forms that are harder for the body to digest. This can lead to digestive discomfort, bloating, and sluggishness after eating reheated mushrooms. These issues are particularly concerning for older adults, whose digestive systems are naturally less efficient with age due to reduced stomach acid production and slower gut motility. But the risks don't stop with digestion. Improperly stored or reheated mushrooms are also prone to oxidative changes. When reheated, especially unevenly in a microwave, mushrooms can undergo protein and fat oxidation. This process creates harmful compounds that contribute to oxidative stress in the body, which is a key factor in aging and the development of chronic diseases. Scientific studies have linked oxidative stress to cardiovascular diseases, cognitive decline, and a weakened immune system. Imagine a typical scenario. You prepare a savory mushroom stir-fry for dinner, store the leftovers in a plastic container, and quickly reheat them the next day in a microwave. The mushrooms might look and taste fine, but the texture feels rubbery, and they might have a faint sourness. These changes are more than culinary disappointments. They indicate that the mushroom structure has degraded, potentially forming compounds that can irritate the digestive system or contribute to inflammation over time. Personal insight: I once made a delicious mushroom stir-fry and, thinking nothing of it, stored the leftovers in the fridge. The next day, I reheated the dish in a microwave. Within a couple of hours, I experienced noticeable bloating and stomach discomfort. At the time, I didn't make the connection, but after learning about how mushrooms react to reheating, I changed my approach. Now, I either prepare mushrooms in portions I can eat fresh, or if I have leftovers, I enjoy them cold in salads or side dishes the next day. The difference in digestion and comfort was significant. The takeaway is simple but important. Mushrooms are delicate and need to be handled with extra care to fully enjoy their health benefits without exposing yourself to unnecessary risks. Consume mushrooms immediately after cooking or store them properly in airtight containers and eat them cold. Avoid reheating them if possible to preserve their texture, flavor, and nutritional integrity. Reheating certain everyday foods can quietly turn them from nutritious to hazardous. The science behind these transformations reveals that heat, storage conditions, and even cooking methods can cause subtle chemical changes in food that may pose long-term health risks. Being aware of these risks allows us to make safer choices, especially as we age and our bodies become more sensitive to dietary stressors. For older adults who often face reduced digestive efficiency and increased vulnerability to inflammation, paying attention to food storage and reheating practices is essential. Small daily habits, like how we warm up leftovers, can either support or undermine our long-term health. Spinach. Avoid reheating to prevent the formation of carcinogenic nitrosamines. Potatoes. Always store cooked potatoes properly and never reheat if they were left at room temperature for too long to prevent botulism. Eggs. Prefer consuming eggs fresh or cold to avoid the harmful effects of cholesterol oxidation. Chicken. Limit reheating to minimize the intake of advanced glycation end products, AGEs, that promote inflammation. Mushrooms. Eat immediately after cooking or store carefully and enjoy cold to avoid digestive discomfort and harmful oxidation. By being mindful of these small but impactful choices, we can protect our health and fully enjoy our meals with greater confidence and safety.